better experience, you pay a little more money, but it allows you yourself, because you're running the whole thing, to do more for people.
Yeah.
So that way, it's not, it's not all over the place. Now, one thing I do have to bring up, and I'm just, it's a topic on a lot of people's minds, so there was a big fight last year.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it was a pretty bad looking stain on the tournament. Everything else up to that point was, so to speak, kind of running kind of smoothly, but we do have some bad apples in there, and a lot of people are worried about that. It did kind of take up the whole court. Now, I was filming at the time, so I know you weren't on the court when it started. I could see you walk into the court, and you're looking ready. You're ready to make Salat rugged in.
Yeah.
Come East and Kufi, or you come in, there's a brawl going on. So since it is a concern, how do you plan to address that this year to make sure we don't have, you can't control everything, obviously, but you do as much as you can. And so what would you like to have in place so that this year there aren't issues like that, so people aren't worried about something like that breaking out during the tournament?
Well, so this year, there's no tolerance. That's number one. Before we even start about what the outcome was from last year, and I've been counseled on this, and about the situation, and gave my opinion and what I believe should happen, and got the support from the council. So I really appreciate that. But number one is no tolerance. We will have security at the tournament. Full-blown security at the tournament, and if you are causing an issue, ruckus, or anything of that nature, or a disturbance in the tournament, anything that takes away from the tournament and the experience that we're trying to have for not only just our fans, but raise money for the youth, you'll be asked to leave. No refund at all. Shukran for your donation, but you'll be asked to leave, and that's just where we have to go with it. I have to say this: I know that a lot of it, sometimes spills onto our floor from, social media beefs or anything that we have, and the tournament is not the place for it, and we are not tolerating it at all. If you can't deal with that, then don't come at all. Don't come. If you want to make a donation, we accept your donation, but if you don't want to be there because you can't, because you don't like a certain person, then I recommend just not coming at all. Like, why mess up someone else's day? So that's number one. Male or female will be asked to leave and not return to the tournament, and depending on the violation, suspension or ban from any further September stage. Speaking about bans or suspensions, we do have players that have been suspended and that have been banned for their actions, and it's not a secret of who started the fight and who was there, and people seeing things that was going on. So I'll give you exactly what it who suspended and why. So starting off, just first is would be Shaquille Harris. He will be suspended for a tournament for starting the fight, throwing the first blow, I should say. Throwing the first blow, he will be suspended from it. Rara would be suspended as well for his actions, but during and after the fight. We all know the controversy with what he was going for and all of that, and I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to go back and forth, on that. People will believe what they believe, and that's that. But at the end of the day, they don't have to worry about it because he won't be at this one. He will take that. He will take that suspension. The one thing, and also Sully Abdullah for fighting as well. So during his involvement inside in the tournament, and Kitab also will be suspended for actions after the tournament, and just certain his choice of words that he decided to use, and I'll say that for our viewers, his choice of words that he decided to use about our community. So he would actually be suspended going further, and that's pending even more than just a suspension. But what I would say is this: is that what that fight did was it completely messed up everything. I mean, you look at what we did after, when we was able to save most of it with Save a Place for Me, and have that dedication to those who passed away. And this is a serious situation for me, because this tournament was for our father. This tournament that had passed was for our father, and to see that, I can just imagine him there, and how hurt he would be to see it.
He wouldn't like that at all.
Truthfully, he probably would have told me to shut it down. I can almost.
I agree with that.
He probably would have told me to shut it down. It was a big concern for the first tournament. September stage 1 was we didn't actually make congregations a lot there. We was way up in Huntersville and we didn't have the means to make it, so people kind of made it in their cars. So by episode 2, I wanted to make sure that we made congregations a lot. So we was in the middle of actually doing that, and that fight broke out. And I could just think of what Abby was saying is, gotta mix a lot together,
right.
And that's this is what happens, So I know he would have told me to shut it down, but one thing I was thinking was, this is for our youth, and Shaitan is just trying to stop us. And if we shut this tournament down, we may never have another one.
I agree.
No one will come back. People will travel far, spend their money. So people may not even come back. So that can be a big stain on September stage, and we can't allow it to happen. I knew that we have Save a Place for Me waiting, to be performed. So we did that. We had the awards for our Umis. And that really brought back the love that was needed in the tournament. But it also caused an issue with me and one of my close companions, Hasinoon, because it then pushed his time back for him to perform. And I don't know what his plans are this year. So I'm not gonna make promises to the fans. He may be going to Muslim Fest, so I'm not gonna make promises to the fans. But I can tell you this much: if Hassan is at September stage, not only will he perform at his, if he so chooses, but he'll also be. I asked him to be the DJ.
Oh, fantastic!
The DJ, and playing us some of the stuff. Maybe some new stuff that he has, but just playing some of the things at his playlist that that he likes to listen to. And some of the things from Muji Productions, promoting some of their stuff. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully he does come back. But it caused an issue there, and it spilled over, and a lot of people was like, oh, how can Hassan say that? And how can he speak like that about you? I'm like, yo, listen, me and Hassan are brothers.
Right.
We'll handle that. And we talked to each other, and he didn't know. He didn't even know. Like, he's like, oh, I didn't know that it was just you running the tournament. I would have called you up, Rafiq. Like, I thought it was other people as well. So we covered that. Everything was good. Me and Hassan knew like this. Always. From little kids. So that pushed his thing back, and that hurt me more than anything. It hurt me so much because I had to tell him that he couldn't perform because we had to be out the gym, and he came down to perform. Like, he came down to bless everyone with that. So, inshallah, I'll be able to have him, bless us with something that he has cooking up, and some other youth that are interested in performing, maybe during halftime and things like that, so that it doesn't take away from the game, but during those halftime. So that's really where our focus is at. But just to go back on the fight, and I say all of that to say what the fight took away from the tournament.
It affected so many different areas.
It affected so many different areas. On when you're dealing with the tournament and unexpected things happen, you have to roll with the punches, and you have to then change things up. Right. And unfortunately, he was a casualty, and I don't feel right about that. And I made amends for that, based off of him, off of him being that casualty. And inshallah, he forgive me, and we can move forward, of course. But we have to have no tolerance when it comes to that type of stuff. We are a wonderful community, and when we do things together, nothing can stop us. I mean, just look at what we did with the road. We had people like Sadiq and Muhammad Salimullah really lead that charge for Holy Islamville, South Carolina, and getting the roads, the roads done down here. And it wasn't just Holy Islamville, South Carolina. It was the whole Jamaat, the whole TMOA that came together and raised these funds, and doing the same thing for Holy Islamburg. So we're doing all of this together. Can't nothing stop us, and we need to know that. So when we come to these tournaments, there's no need to have these beefs with one another. You know what I mean? There's no need to have these beefs with one another. We're going to be with each other, inshallah, in this world and the next. So what are we fighting for? So inshallah, we can take that as a message, come correct, and if you just saying, I can't deal with these people, then don't come, and that's okay. That's okay. It's best that you not be selfish and say, I'm not going to go because I just know if someone says something to me, I'm going to flip. And that's okay if you have a short fuse. Just don't bring that short fuse to the tournament and blow it up.
Exactly, and like you said, just don't cause a problem, and hopefully there won't be any disciplinary action taken against you or anyone else. And we won't have issues because, like you said, it affected so many different things. Times had to change. You couldn't have performances that would have been really nice for fans during the halftime or during the break that were then taken away from them because of the actions of a few people.
Yep.
And then that, sort of course brings all these questions this year of, how is that going to be and X, Y, and Z. So hopefully, this time moving forward with the bad apples removed, we won't have those kind of problems. So
Correct.
we'll have a much better experience this time. So sort of in closing here, are there any final words you want to give to everyone?